Yeah. Hello. Hi, everybody. And thanks for joining um, on a new Monday on a new tavern. First of all, sorry for canceling last week on a short notice, rather short notice. And then also apologies that you're going to have to work with me alone today because everybody has bailed. Santiago has a public holiday. Olga's sick. I've asked Pedro, he's traveling. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night for whoever you are, wherever you are, not whoever, wherever you are. And yeah, thanks for joining once again. It's cool that still so many of you have made it here. I know there's a lot of questions regarding play, and I hope that we can mostly stick with discussing play because all of these questions regarding Dungeon Master, I honestly haven't been able to follow up on hardly anything regarding Dungeon Master. My last week was truly packed with um, play token related stuff. So, but I think we'll be able to cover 2 hours of good ground with questions around that, I suppose, because there's a lot to unpack. Obviously, you've already been posting questions. I very much appreciate that. Also, that you're being critical and asking, so what now? Because you've been saying this and that for so long, and now it's there. Now we're not getting information. We'll get to that in a second. We'll unpack everything with regards to um, what's going on, especially, and hope that you'll get some answers. But first of all, how is yeah, how is everyone doing? How have you been? How was your last week, 2 weeks? Everything good out there? Apparently not. We've had um, apparently we've had some issues. I didn't even manage to play Dungeon Master regularly. Played on the weekend. Um, this took for me, it mostly worked. I didn't see any issues. So you can fill me in, then I'll forward that to the team on whatever products we've been having problems with. All good in the UK. Okay, at least something. Somebody. Hmm. Um, yes. Come on, bring in the questions. I've already had. Um, oh no, now I'm getting a call. I've been on back-to-back calls for a long time. Hang on a sec. So that I don't. So that I don't get called again. Um, where do we start? I mean, we obviously start with all of your questions. Maybe we actually, like, what we can do is because we're still early in the stream, we can already start a Twitchy Tides round. Like, at least you can already sign up for this. And we'll do the usual with Twitchy Tides, obviously, and I'll be answering all your questions in the meantime. So the exclamation mark play with AI to join. So it was earlier it said play with a Y, but it's AI. Okay, so let's start before I get into your questions. There's some kind of more general remarks here, right? Like how everything went, how my week has been ever since, because I can mostly talk about my week, not everybody else's. I know that a lot of you have been anxious around play launch and so on, or excited or whatever. So there's a lot of feelings, emotions around this, of course. Like also on my end, there's been a lot of feedback, positive, negative, good and bad. And it's been incredibly busy, first and foremost, ever since we launched, because yeah, there was the launch itself, the aftermath of the launch, and then everything else that's kind of surrounding this. So anyway, let's unpack that a little bit. So the the Play token was launched on Solana on um, okay. Yeah, I'm being alone, so I need to kind of read and talk at the same time. Um, so yeah, uh, we launched on Solana. The migration to the liquidity pool on Radium happened at around 9:35 p.m. Central European time. So that's around 7:35 p.m. UTC, right? For whoever was there. Hey, look at that. Um, there's Pedro is also here. Um, and yeah, so that launched. Not everything went perfect around that. There was a lot of sniping activity going on. Obviously, a lot of yeah, a lot of traction initially, right? So a lot of price action, then a little bit of how we say back and forth regarding the price, but then um, we started having kind of people talk about it more, and so that that went well. Um, uh, from an overall kind of price perspective, we're not there yet, right? So we can definitely say that it's not what we are looking forward to, what we expect this to be worth, right? So there's definitely a lot of work ahead of us. We have a lot of plans there. Can also unpack a little bit about that. And uh, yeah, so and then the rest of the week, I was basically busy with a lot of people coming in, offering support, being extremely hyped about the project, being like super super excited about what the website looks like, what the white paper looks like, what how our Twitter engagement and so on has been going on. Also, a lot of people like influential people actually wanting to talk to us, which was really really good to see because you can only get these kinds of people in once you have actually live. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this should be worth a lot more," whatever. Right? Obviously, there's nothing we can buy ourselves from just these words, but we're getting a lot of support, right? And that's going to be great. So we're kind of now we're in the actual working phase, right? Like when I was telling the team that, look, I know you've been working on this for super long, and it feels like this is like the end of something. It's actually more like the beginning. Is more like the beginning of something, and we're just getting started with all this, right? So for us, it's like okay. Um, I think I said at some point the 72 of the 72 hours after launch, I probably worked like 60. So I just had 3 hours of sleep every night and so on. So it was crazy. But now we're kind of getting a little settled. So also now was going to be the time where you can have better kind of directions towards timelines and so on when it comes to um, maybe obviously what you're all going to be asking about airdrops, but also everything else, right? So campaigns with partners, with people promoting, and so on. And yeah, let's unravel some of the things that you guys have been um, what you have been bringing up. I won't go in kind of how do you say chronological order, but in terms of kind of how it fits. So that sounds really bad to find a dollar. I have no idea why your X account got suspended. Participated in all the engage activities, won nothing. So we should get you something. But my X account suspended. I will not be participating with that anymore. Okay, that sounds really bad. I'm really sorry for that, but we'll make sure that you get a little yeah, compensation for at least getting your X account suspended, which sounds like this is weird. 1.18K holders of Play quite disappointed in the marketing. I do agree with that being a low number. especially compared to other Solana launches, right? That should be in the thousands, 2000s, 5, 6, 7,000s for that to be good, right? There is certain things that are not that don't actually work in our favor. Let's put it that way. One of them actually being that we locked up a large portion of the tokens, right? And what that means, and this was a feedback that I was getting, I was like, oh my God, we should have done that differently because we wanted to do things right. We locked up tokens in individual wallets. So now the top 4 holders of Play, if you look at Dex Screener or something, top 4 holders are actually vesting wallets that hold all these tokens that we locked up, right? So they can't be moved. They're not available, but it looks to the kind of average kind of short-term trader, meme coin trader, this looks horrible because they are used to tokens where the biggest holder has at most like 2%, right? And obviously that can be explained, but the attention span of the average, let's say, meme coin trader is typically shorter than that, so they won't touch it. So that might be one of the reasons, not the only one. Also, that this Play doesn't generally cater to these people from a kind of visual, whatever, narrative perspective also plays a role. But I don't think it's lack of marketing, to be honest, Kevin Kev, because we've had some really, really good people, big accounts actually talk about this. So it's more like other factors that prevent them from actually buying in on this, especially on kind of tiny little amounts, right? And basically creating this fractured, very, very fractured kind of holding pattern. So because we've had a lot of people actually shout out about this, which is pretty good. I'll try to keep up. Okay, so apparently some people got their some people got their X account suspended for spam. That's okay. I get that. We should be cautious with these kinds of things, specifically when we do these kinds of things. I get that, especially if you don't post a lot of other things, right? Okay. Then, I mean, I'll just try to pull up some of the questions because I think they're representative for what's going on in the community, right? You wish community to get excited about the launch, but the fact is we haven't received the airdrop yet, almost a year of being patient, and we don't even know ratios. Don't you think it's a bit ironic? I totally see how that's a problem, right? But and there's a few other questions in that direction. Everybody wants to know that, right? So Webby's question, which was one of the first ones, how do you feel the launch went? As I'm hearing a lot of negative feedback, we were told for 7 months, wait until launch, all info will be given out. Now over a week later, still no info regarding ratios, airdrop dates. At best, I see a 5 wombat to 1 play, which will mean none of us making profits. My question is, we've all been played. Well, so let's just look at realities, right? And how we want things to play out. Pun not intended. We always wanted, and that's one of the main reasons why we're like going through the whole rebranding, this whole thing, right? That we want all of you to get value out, right? And we want you to retain your value. We want you to be rewarded for your support, for being here, for putting in a lot of time and money and effort. And so we can't just do things and not worry about the results, right? So obviously, if you look at the reality right now, and that's also why things are a little slower than we had hoped for. Again, not everything in the launch went perfect, so we could have been in a better state. But I mean, we'll deal with that. We'll fix that, right? It's just that it might take a little longer. It's just that, but if you look at this from a kind of pure factual perspective, if you want an airdrop, Wombat token holders would like a play token airdrop. You look at Wombat having a fully diluted valuation of about let's say 2.5 million. You look at play, with a fully diluted valuation of 2.5 million, right? Then if you want to give significant value to any Wombat token holder, then if you do that, you're going to tank the chart of play, right? Like there's no way around this. So we need to be smarter than that. We need to do better than that, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're working on, right? And we said, yes, we told you that there will be more information about snapshots and airdrops after the launch. Well, I don't want to say it's technically after the launch, even if it's a week ago. We would have preferred to have that much faster, but the way things are playing out, we need to be very, very cautious so that we don't kill this, right? And I've said a similar thing on Discord the other day, and obviously I know that none of the people who have been waiting for this can be happy about this. Obviously, I get that. I totally understand. But we're not deferring things because we don't want to. We aren't being secretive about things because we don't want you to know or whatever, but because it's important for play to do well, right? It's important for everybody that this does well. But if we now kind of blindly airdrop at whatever fixed ratio, then we'll be in the same situation, in exactly the situation that we didn't want to be in, right? That just a lot of tokens enter and the price will tank, and then it's going to be incredibly difficult to recover from that. So that's not going to make you happy. And I know that. And it's not easy to go on a stream where you know you're going to be picked apart because of the things that you're going to have to say, right? But it's just a reality. We can't just blindly airdrop tokens today, right? So we're working on a lot of things, on campaigning with the play token, with PlayMind, and overall there's going to be the migration of utility, right? We're also kind of being really cautious with this because we don't want to force any one of you into having to own play without getting a clear guidance on when you'll get some tokens, right? So we're being very, very cautious and kind of strategic about this, so that we don't generate any kind of damage that we won't recover from, that we won't be able to recover from, right? And that needs to be kind of the guiding principle, right? And that's what the guiding principle also has been. We need to look at the situation at hand, and we need to do what's best for, well, every Wombat token holder, every play token holder, for every holder, for anyone in the community, for any contributor, what is best for all of you. Because again, if let's just imagine somebody gives a suggestion of, let's airdrop just like this, right? Oh, there was who said that? Yeah, there was a question that went in the same direction. Yeah, here, with just the top 100 staked Wombat being worth roughly $150,000, how can any drop of play not crash current play price? That's exactly the thinking behind that, right? So this would definitely happen if we just blindly airdropped. So we need to be smart about that. Again, I know this is not going to make you happy. This is yeah, okay, sorry. So okay, I'm just tagging starting some of the questions so I can answer them properly. yeah, we're working on a lot of things at the same time. It wasn't exactly clear to us how everything would go down because we've never been in the Solana space, right? So the good thing is we're getting a lot of attention for being a great example for a good token, a utility token launching on Solana, right? We're getting a lot of support there that will help us actually get this into a stage that we need to have that in, and we want to have that in also for all of you, so that you can get a ton of value, right? And there's going to be a lot of if that works out, then there's going to be a ton of value for you, right? A ton of value in playing Dungeon Master, a ton of value in holding Wombat tokens and so on. But for that, we first need to make that happen, right? So I'm really sorry. I really have to apologize for any trouble that this is causing to all of you. That doesn't come easy, right? This is not as we had envisioned this, that we have to kind of push back and so on. But there's also some positives here, right? So one thing is the market timing. So because we've been getting this question, right? So 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, isn't the market good enough and so on? From a timing perspective, we timed this right. So that's been good, right? The market is really good. So this can thrive, right? This is very relevant in this. This is the overall market is doing well, and so the Solana token market will be doing well as well. So that's great. But apart from that, we need to be really, really careful about what we do. So I'll just dive right into the follow-up questions that you've been posting up. I'm not sure where this fear of dumping is coming from. With our token staked, we want to stake the play. Are there really that many users that are just waiting for exit? Yes, unfortunately, we have to expect that. Not from you, Define the Dollar, not from Beantown Bob or Webby or Kevin Kev or all of you who are here, right? You won't be doing this. I know that. I know that you want the utility of play, right? But whoever has been buying Wombat just to receive an airdrop, and there's quite a bunch of them, right? Whatever comes into circulation, a portion of that will always be sold. Not all of it, right? And since from a token perspective, this is a fledgling one, right? Play is a fledgling one, right? Of course, we have all these products and so on, but they're right now they're not directly connected to Play, and also we don't have the Playmate protocol live yet and so on. So there's no utility inside the Playmate protocol. So in a good scenario where this would have done a lot better, or in a average case scenario even, we would have had more answers for you, unfortunately, right? But right now we have to keep grinding, we have to keep working, and we have to make sure that we actually get there, so that we can do what we promised you that we will be doing. Unfortunately, we have to expect that quite a big portion of those tokens would actually enter circulation, not be staked. Can't we do a play airdrop over time, every month, small amount airdrop? Yes, we could, but then the question is, how do we go about staking, for instance, right? So if let's just say we would want you to be able to retain your VIP level, then how would you go about this kind of airdrop? There's probably surely ways of figuring this out, but it's going to be incredibly complicated, right? That's why we're a little hesitant to do that. Beantown Bob saying, Adrian, I'm currently holding 1 million play as a loyal follower. The value seems to be going down. I did have faith in the project, but I'm losing it quickly. Yeah, I mean, the chart is not perfect, but it's also okay, right? So I totally see how you're viewing this as, okay, why wouldn't I just sell, or will I get my money back, or whatever. I can only say we're here. We're working on this. We're committed to make it work, right? We have a plan. I can't talk about all of the details for this, but we will get a lot more eyeballs on this in the next coming weeks, right? Both from more people who will be talking about this outside of ourselves, but also from partners and so on. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening, and this will go. I'm sure it will go really, really well, but we need to allow it to do this, allow us to do our work. And yeah, in some discussions, we may have been a little bit optimistic regarding kind of the timeline within which that's all going to happen, right? Especially with regards to the airdrops here. Yeah, that's we have to revise that, because also the launch didn't go as well as we were hoping. Saw on X that some influencers were promoting play with the exact same wordings. What did you pay these influencers to post? So what you do when you work with influencers is you give them suggestions on what they can post, right? Because if you work with them, if they don't kind of come up with it themselves, then you give them like 3 or 4 kind of potential briefings, and then they can rewrite that or just post that and so on. So if there's, depending on how well they want to do it, right? They will basically change it, switch it up, or not, right? But that's kind of how you campaign with them, right? You have to give them kind of a briefing, and so some of them apparently just used one of our suggestions and just posted this. Because typically, yes, some people will basically see that, multiple people posted the same, but they also have different audiences, right? So they may not actually see the same thing multiple times. This is an important one, but shouldn't the ratio be fixed, not based on market prices, especially when you hold 70% of the demand? That's a very valid question, right? That's so the answer is yes and no, right? Because if I based off of, let's say, value right now, right? You would get, let's say, a 1-to-1 in dollars if we were basically just to airdrop all the play to all the Wombat token holders, right? Then you would get a 1-to-1 in value. Then you would get a lot of play, right, for each of your Wombat. But that won't work, right? That won't work for anybody, because this is going to mean that a lot of people are going to sell their play, and then it's worthless. So you have a lot of play, but they're not worth anything, right? So we have to avoid that. So we need to be smarter than that. And maybe there is a fixed ratio, right? But we can't. We're not saying it because, and that's not what I'm saying, right? But even if there was a fixed ratio, we couldn't tell you this, because it would feel like maybe, that's very disappointing, because now I'm getting just cents on the dollar for my Wombat to play, right? So this is what's really difficult here. So I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be fixed. I think it actually should be based on the value that you should be getting, right? That's what I feel, right? Because let's say we make it fixed, and then you get them, and it's basically just the same value that you had before, and you're not happy either, right? So you would want something that's more valuable than what you had before, right? If this is what's supposed to happen. So that's what I feel should happen. Not just get it just in order to get it, but get it because it should do something for you, right? So that's what I would be looking forward to. Thanks to your village people. Thank goodness I didn't damage my liver with all that whiskey play. Can't even refund the cost of all the bottles I took. Send us a bill. Robot is asking, any update when the Playmate protocol starts? Tracking properly first. When Place utility starts, partner and or utility and tokens on other chains can be expected. How about sex, and what is the first thing feature to be expected? Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, as always, with your questions, Robert. So we're working on the protocol. The protocol itself, the on-chain stuff, that's pretty far, right? Everything else is not there yet. So I would expect that it will take maybe 2 or 3 months until we can actually launch this in the first version, right? We wanted to be a little bit faster, but then again, everything got a little delayed. So I think, it's not too far out. Play utility. So that basically, because you're also asking other chains. So we're having a rather easy time with some of the chains. So that bridging is pretty much basically done. We just need to kind of bridge the tokens and be done with it. The one thing that where we're dependent on others is the wax bridging. So we're trying to get that done as quickly as possible now. Hope that's only going to be a few days. What else? Partners. So there's going to be, we're looking to do a big campaign with a lot of partners where we will be showcasing. Hopefully, we'll get into some kind of a cadence where we can do 2 or 3 per week or so. I don't know. We're planning this right now because we had to shift a few things around launch or after launch. So partners there's going to be quite a few really cool partners. Other chains, we just spoke about that. How about centralized exchange listings? So the problem is that when you list on centralized exchanges, they would, especially all of them would expect a portion of the tokens to be used for marketing, right? And that will generate sell pressure on the token. So we want to kind of that will happen, but it will happen once we're a bit higher with the price, because right now the volumes are really good on DEX, right? So we don't expect that any kind of smaller exchange would actually add a lot of volume or a lot of liquidity there. 100% my Solana wallet prompted me on the high risk of top 10 holders of token holding 58%, and the high risk of how easily the price can be manipulated. So are you saying none of the team members flagged this possibility prior? No, actually no. This is right. We also even our advisors didn't know, didn't make us aware that this might be a possibility. So we had to make a decision there, right? In retrospect, we got a lot of feedback regarding that. Like I said, so it's funny because there's a possibility of making these vesting contracts cancelable, and we should have just done that because we could have cleaned it up later, but we wanted to do it properly. So that's why nobody brought that up in the process, to be honest. Adrian, you seem to have that's by Beantown Bob. Adrian, you seem to have painted the outlook with the Bob Ross theology. I'm disappointed that this keeps happening with you at the helm. Dungeon Worlds, WASD, Tap Monsters are just the 3 that come to mind. It would make sense to keep the Wombat token for Dungeon Master and just airdrop bonus play tokens as a thank you. Play is the main token for the company going forward. That's a very interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm sorry, right, that me being at the lead of this, that I've disappointed you. That's tough, right? I get it. But yeah, that's why I'm here to basically discuss this, right? Keep the Wombat token for Dungeon Master and just add Rabonus play tokens as a thank you. Let me take that into consideration because I've been having a few discussions around this. And this is an interesting hybrid of multiple scenarios that have been brought up by different people, right? So let me just take this. I find that a very interesting suggestion, actually. I'll have to discuss this with a bunch of people, but it's kind of I'm wondering how possible that would be. But it's thanks. It's a very interesting take. Okay, let me see. Sugar Queen Janice. No one token owner or launcher can promise that there won't be dumping. They can only assure utility and possible heavy usage, which led to a higher need for the token and overall turnover. It's normal for 50% of the buyers there to just catch the wave and then sell them off. Honestly, if you can't afford or lose anything or don't want to lose anything, you should not even buy at all. Sorry, but this is the reality of the current token market. It's probably the reality of not just the current token market, but token market in general. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, whoever you talk to in crypto, there's only very few people who will not try to screw you for their own benefit, right? So many people in the crypto space are there just to make money, and ideally as quickly and as painlessly as possible, right? So and they don't care about others. So yeah, that's a problem. So if you talk to somebody and they say, I will absolutely not sell, and then you ask the question, so are you okay putting this into a vesting wallet? And they say no, then you're having a discussion about this, right? Because if they absolutely will not sell, but they're not ready to put that into a vesting wallet, then why, right? What's the thing? Yes, it doesn't feel good to have tokens vested instead of liquid, right? But it's just a reality of this. It's wherever you go, people will say one thing and do the exact opposite in many cases. So now I have to catch up with some of the comments here. So let's pivot from the actual token, and can we discuss the other money-making options with the revamp? Can you specify that what you mean with money-making options? Are you talking about business model, or are you talking about kind of reward schemes or kind of payouts or whatever from the ecosystem? Would just be interested in what exactly you're talking about. I have about $60 worth of Wombat. I would like $1 million worth of play tokens, please. Gotcha. I'm hearing that you've locked the chat in here so people can't chat. People are chatting, aren't they? I don't understand. I have not logged anything. Many OG chatters can't chat in here now without registering phone number. We had nothing to do with this. We haven't touched the settings here at all. So maybe that's just a Twitch thing. I don't know. Okay, 2 people. Okay, seems to be a Twitch thing. We can try and see whether there's any setting. Thanks, your village people. $1.25 per whiskey for 42 days. $1.25. That's cheap whiskey, isn't it? Or it's very little. That's $52. Where do I send my wallet? Your XDM. Please don't play it. Dump it. I can send that to you personally, and I'll send that to you in stables so that you can buy or install or whatever it is. You can buy play rather than sell. Oh, my kids are home. That's for Pedro and Olga and the others to take in. Honestly, I absolutely, Kevin kept saying, I absolutely hate the style of X post that Playmite chose to post. It looks really messy. Just my 2 cents. So this kind of begin transmission, these kinds of things. Thanks. I'll definitely forward that on if Pedro isn't seeing this, so that we can do better. Maybe there's other people who have feedback on this and share or do not share the opinion, because always trying to make things right. Are we gonna change the streamer NFT to 2025 because it's halfway into 2022? Yeah, we should, right? I'm actually surprised that this hasn't happened yet, but again, paying the responsible person who had something to celebrate on the weekend, but he might tell you himself. Oh, I didn't hear that. The MoonPay guy? Who's the MoonPay guy? Went to jail finally. 45 years? Crazy. Give me a vesting wallet and I will send the tokens today. So you want to lock up your tokens in a vesting wallet? I can give you one. Janice, that's the norm. They will sell because when the need outweighs their ability to hold their investments, they will sell or swap to facilitate their immediate needs. We can't blame some of these actions which were made out of necessity. No, of course, like the people that I talk about are not kind of quote unquote retail investors, right? It's more like partners. So I mean, we've seen that back in 2022 when we launched Wombat, that one of our partners who was the only one with unlocked tokens would actually just outright dump them, and even after they told publicly, they told the community publicly that they won't, they just continued until they were done. So that's one of these examples. As a player, okay, so you're asking as a player. So on a short term, let's discuss this, right? On a short term, I don't think that a lot will change from what you've been doing, right? So what we're looking to do is kind of give or keep this going in a positive way, of course, right? And have whatever kind of success of the PlayMind ecosystem. For instance, if we get more users into Wombat, those will also become part of these people will become Dungeon Master players, so we'll have more players. Right? Okay, whatever. But for Dungeon Master itself, we don't plan to kind of like change a lot of the payout or whatever drastically. That's maybe better discussed with regarding the roadmap with Santiago, who should be back next week, or maybe you can also ask him on one of the chat with PM sessions, right? But overall, once we go live with PlayMind, and Dungeon Master will be one of the first games to actually integrate this, then you will be getting additional play from just providing your data, right? And that will go for any partner game as soon as we're live there, and other people will be able to buy that data with play, right? So I think that's going to be really, really great, depending on how much that data is being used from Dungeon Master, right? For people to actually do XYZ with it. Like we've been discussing a few things, right? In the past, that will give you another possibility to basically earn from playing anything. One thing that we're generally debating, and I would like to hear your opinions here, actually. One thing that we've been deliberating with regards to PlayMind and the PlayMind protocol is on Android specifically, there are apps that are that have similar reward functionalities as Wombat or OnePlay, but they would ask for permission to display over other apps, and they ask for permission to read which other apps you have open, right? So that's something that we're again discussing, whether we should be offering this. So what we could do is rather than just collecting data from individual games, how about we integrate that into the Wombat app, so that we could basically collect data from any app. How many of you would actually allow the Wombat app to do these two things: read which other apps are being used, right, and potentially display over those apps, so the Wombat app could actually know where you're tapping on your phone, right? So that sounds horrible. That's why we've never done it before, right? But apps that have similar reward mechanisms, like I said, Mistplay and Just Play and whatnot, they do exactly this. That's also the reason why they're only available on Android, because that's where you can do these things. So for me, it would be just like, okay, there should definitely be an opt-in to this, right? And if you want to kind of earn additional play tokens by playing any type of game, right? Not necessarily only games that have been integrated with Wombat, but any type of game. We could record all kinds of data, right? And use that, and you would be rewarded with play tokens for this. So really trying to get a feel for how many people would actually do that. Drink to earn. That's going to be very popular. Drink to earn. Yeah, this is a real question. Will you add some decimal places to USDC in the game? I think you need to make daily earning more visible to me. Before, in past seasons, I was earning 30 to 40 Wombat daily. Now my daily says I'm earning 0.00 USDC daily. Yes. I think Santiago is aware of that issue, and I think they're fixing this, and it should be there really soon. But like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to actually spend on Dungeon Master, so Well, it's like 100 milliliters cheap whiskey. I don't want to shout at my mom after being high. um, um, Where's Santiago? He changed his X username to include doctor. Has he gone back into medical field to make another COVID 25? No, like I said, he has a public holiday today, if I understood correctly, and that's that's the main reason, and he should be back next week. Um, I think he just included it because he finally kind of officially graduated a while ago. So that's actually pretty cool. Yosi treat was total supply 1 billion, Wombat 10 billion. It is so difficult to find the right formula for an airdrop, isn't it? It's not about the total supply, right? It's about the floating supplies, and it's about the well, not killing the economy for any one token, especially not for the play token. So that's what it's all about. It's not about, yeah, sure, you could just airdrop 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 or 2-to-1, whatever. But it's not that easy. Like I was trying to explain. Yeah, is there any news about MoonPay? It's not working for more than a week now. So we're having this is kind of a compliance thing. We're having an issue. They asked for KYB, know your business, and we're trying to complete this. And I don't know why this is so difficult because we've done it before. Money laundering protection, essentially. And we've handed in all the information that was asked from us, but that's not working. So it's just a compliance issue that should be fixed really, really soon. Okay. SafeMoon CEO Braden John Caroni found guilty on all charges. Wow. Yeah, SafeMoon. Yeah, that was really big, right? At some point. Janice, Adrian, I believe what's very important right now is to lay down the next steps that you all have in store, or the well-kept secret to expand the utilities and increase the use case for play so everyone can see that there's a rainbow over the horizon. This would boost our confidence in the coming months. Okay, then I guess, I think it makes sense that if I speak with the team and we get this done for you, so that you get this, like, especially internally for our community, for all of you who have been waiting for so long, that you get this more specific. Okay, this is the timeline. Okay. The issue always with timelines is that we're gonna be held accountable to those, of course, and there are certain things that we cannot directly impact. But okay, we'll give this a try. We'll see we'll see to it that we get this out for you within the next days, so that you don't have to wait as long anymore. So that the anxiety basically goes away. I get that. Thanks, Janice. Robot doesn't like the idea of keeping Wombat forever. Instead, we should start developing more key features, clan wars, leaks, etc., and get more utility and competition to it. Of course, we should integrate Playmate ASAP and create dungeon worlds with the integrate as well, and use Play. That's my opinion. Thanks. Yeah, somebody else mentioned this, or was that also you, Decrypt? Sidekicks, no, Sico Stoß mentioned this. So I'll just forward that to Santiago. See what he has to say, because he needs to justify this himself. So true, Janice. Everyone's confidence is so low. Most of the top players and OG are not happy, don't have any answers, and some feel used. I think we need a clear roadmap and build the confidence of the community. Okay, got it. Permissions scare me. I really need to trust you, like really trust you. So I guess that's a follow-up to Robert not liking the idea of keeping Wombat. The initial idea was to get a new token which combines both old ones, Wombat and WAS, to have a stronger token in the ecosystem, get listed on big exchanges and on launch, and also learn from past. Now it feels like we didn't follow the initial plan, but Playmind scene needs more time to get started. 2 to 3 months sound long, to be honest. I don't think it's long, to be honest, like when it comes to the product, right? Because just having a product out that then well isn't good or isn't used by anybody or whatever, that's not going to gain anyone anything, right? Also, as if we plan, for instance, if we plan to hand out play tokens and not just the ones that are directly being paid for the data, that requires a little bit of buildup, right? And that also requires the token economy to be healthy, right? Again, because it's going to be tokens entering circulation. So yeah, okay. But I get your point around the not keeping the Wombat token around, because that was the initial idea, as you said. And yes, especially with regards to centralized exchanges, actually our entire attitude to that has changed a little, because the market has changed. The whole market sentiment has changed, because why you want these exchange listings is, on one hand, to have access to a wider group of people. And yes, that's, like I said, I'm not saying it won't happen, but after we kind of changed our strategy towards a kind of a decentralized launch, a DEX launch, people say fair launch, whatever, on chain, but basically this was less of a priority, right? Because you do get the volumes on decentralized exchanges that you'd otherwise only see on centralized exchanges, right? So yeah, and big, like it makes a difference when you actually get to big exchanges, right? Like really big ones, obviously the typical Binance and Coinbase. But for that, we need to do a little better, right? So then that's where we need to go, right? Then it's going to be worth it for sure. Huh? I don't know that. I don't get it. Adrian said Kill hasn't jumped on the unalived bandwagon. I haven't heard that. Sorry, I'm out. I'm so old. I don't know. Mortal Wombat, hello. And thanks for the raid. Oh my god, I'm so behind. It's horrible. I was just so focused on these questions. So hello, and thanks for the raid once again. I saw a few people talking about getting a 500 error over the weekend in DM. Did the team figure out what happened? I honestly, I didn't even know this was happening. But again, I'm just dumping all this on Santiago. He's got to find out. Or then if if you're also getting a 500, because then if this is urgent, if this is happening to a lot of people, then I'll forward it to the team directly. Then I don't have to relay through Santiago, right? That I can also do. When will play list on Binance? I only say this much. If we were listing on Binance, we couldn't tell you up front. I'm with Janice. A lot of people don't get how it will work, and 3 months are long. Maybe we can get more than just a roadmap and step-by-step guide, a demo or teaser, which we can use to experience and shill the UI of Playmind. And maybe some initial prompts, of course, not create a game without any tagged data. Maybe provide some initial data to it for 2 to 3 mini games to be created, or just as an example how it would work and feel. Okay. Let me take this to the team so that we can whip something up as quickly as possible, right? At least have not just from a kind of communications perspective, but also from a kind of, because that's what you're now asking for, Robert, like from a more product perspective, showcase what the product's going to look like, right? So yeah, that is, I'll try to get that. I'll try to get as much as I can in this direction. Actually, it's we also wanted to have something that's kind of more visual on the website, but it didn't work out from a quality and timeline perspective as we had hoped. I think the product will fail before 3 months. The WASDR people are still pissed and feel like Thomas wrecked them since they feel lied to about the Spielworks WASDR non-merger thing now. Yeah, I mean, there was never a merger. There was never an equity deal or whatever. We never bought the company WASDR, so we also never acquired the liabilities of WASDR or any kind of obligations. Let's put it that way, right? What we did was an asset deal. We bought a bunch of assets, including the software, the IP, the user base, the whatever, the tech and the brand, and a bunch of tokens. So that's what we acquired. And yeah, when I talk about 3 months, I talk about the product, right? So it seems like there's a little change or difference in perception here. When I talk about 3 months, I'm not talking 3 months for airdrops or utility or bridging or whatever. When I talk about 3 months, I'm talking about the actual Playmind protocol to launch, right? That's so we're not looking to slow roll. I take off my pants and jacket. We're not looking to slow roll any of this. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in the meantime. But yeah, I'll try to get you a better overview of this, of what's going to be happening within days, so you don't have to wait for a really long time. I feel like we're going to have to do the Twitchy tides because it's been sitting there for a long time. We'll do that in a second. If it was down to me, I would massively increase the utility of Play, including Dungeon Master, would ramp up price pool for Dungeon Master and introduce a new level or 2 in VIP, while still continuing to grow Play in the Playmind project. Let's get some buzz around everything, attract new players, etc. Okay. Is there, I mean, it's very easy to ask the question, right? What would you do in terms of utility for the token? I'm really interested. The 500 is intermittent, and I wasn't able to reproduce. It seems Ziva is aware. It seems to be an NFT that's showing a mismatched state of rotating on the chain versus local data, so I suspect bad cache data or bad node somewhere. But who am I? Okay, so if Siva is aware, that's good. Okay. Don't be sorry, Sugar Queen Janice. It's great. I mean, we're having a great discussion here, right? It's not like I don't want to be on a monologue here. Maybe want stamina gels to spend play on. Should we bring those back? Okay, let's quickly start. You feel free to post your questions in the meantime, but if not, then of course no stamina gels. No and no. Let's start the Twitchy Tides and whatever questions whatever questions you have, feel free to post them and hope that I'll see them, or wait a little before you post them. But there's probably going to be a lot more questions. But let's quickly get this done so that we have this out of the way. So top 5 players, as always, will get a promo box. And top player with a wombat skin on will also get a promo box. So let's get this rolling. All right, and I'll try to keep reading and tagging the game, the comments, so that we can get right back into them once this is over. Once the Twitchy chat is over. By the way, does the pooping thing work again? There's nobody pooping. Nobody with a wombat skin here to try it. Okay, too bad. Vince tried, but Vince isn't here anymore, right? Is there some kind of delay? Almost feels like there's a bit of a delay here, but I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, we're down to 8 fish. We're down to 5. So we already got our winners, actually. So Tree Frognata, Prince Paradox, Kevin Kev, Chur, and Chucky will be our winners. We already know that. Just need to wait it out a little more. All right. Chucky, Chur, Kevin Kev, Prince Paradox, Tree Frognata. And then I think there was only Shinpaichi. Yeah, with so we can skip that. Fedor doesn't need that. Or did I miss somebody? No, Vince. No, okay, there was also Vince, but so GG's. All right. Where were we? Tides is rigged, of course. Yes, you put in your wombat skin, but you placed second among all wombat skin holders. Webby, one idea, seasonal gear. We have now, let's look at a renting formula for seasonal items, like maybe 50% of all slots at 50 or 75% of max power. This would allow people, if they want to spend, they can see what a level 5 or 6 gear feels like. You could bring out block vaulting, maybe 5 seasons, 10 seasons to receive extra boost, more items in the shop. Okay, now I have to try to dissect that a little bit. A renting formula for seasonal items. Renting formula for season. So you mean like actual renting for seasonal items, or do you mean that seasonal items could work like renting? This would allow people, if they want to spend, they can see. So okay, 50% or 75% of max power of all slots, or 50% of all slots. Okay. So you mean more seasonal items. And then block vaulting. Block vaulting sounds really cool. Okay, I think there's a lot to unpack there. Definitely, I'll have to have a conversation about this with Santiago, and then we'll get back to you on that, I guess, because there's probably a lot of details to be broken down there. Hi, Juan Pablo Espinoza. Long-time holder of WAS. Some time ago, you said that WAS holders will get airdropped at a certain value. Is that changing? I didn't convert to Wombat since you said we will get airdropped. So yeah, we're still we still want to honor this, right? We're still looking to honor what we said, that WAS token holders will also get value in terms of play. But since there's a lot of people here who are holding Wombat, right, and who've been having similar questions, we haven't disclosed the details of what that's going to look like yet, because right now our focus is on creating a healthy economy for the play token, and then we'll, as soon as we have that, we'll basically we'll be able to disclose more details about how that's going to work, right? I've been asked here a few minutes ago to come up with kind of a roadmap of sorts, or kind of announce, or tell you kind of what the details of what the timeline of all of these things will look like. So I'd love to go back to the team and discuss that and find a solution so we can actually give you a little bit more details. And then I hope that we can have something whipped up for you within days, right? So that we can basically show you, okay, this is the timeline on which we're operating. Chair is asking, is Playmind also for medium action games like Snake that require at least 10 to 15 screenshots per second to be able to be used for training models? Data rate for upload and regard storage bandwidth will be quite high. So yeah, that's obviously something that is part of the technology that we're building, right? So what do these things look like? What does the data look like specifically, especially when it comes to screen recordings or screenshots or whatever? We anticipate that will generally differ between different types of games and genres and whatnot, right? So definitely, let's say first person shooters will have different requirements than idle games, right? That's for sure. So I find it funny that you're bringing up Snake of all the games. I don't think that Snake would actually require at least 10 to 15 screenshots per second, or frames per second. But yeah, I get where you're going. But why would that be a problem, right? I wouldn't see why that would necessarily be a problem. That they don't have to be stored in kind of full resolution and whatnot, right? So there can be a lot can be saved there. So yeah, but it's true there will be a lot of data overall, right? But we anticipate that this data will be a fraction of the amount of data that's currently being used to train similar AI models, right? Because most of the data that's currently being used is screencasts, screen recordings, full screen recordings, YouTube videos, these kinds of things, right? So that is a lot of data compared to what we're going to be having. That's going to be minuscule compared to that. I saw that game state metadata is planned to be provided only for training data, not for the actual agent. That's quite shortcoming. I would like maybe can elaborate on that a little bit, because yeah, what you mean with what you mean with this, like that it's not for the actual agent. Are you talking about kind of metadata that's being presented by people who to people who want to get an agent, or what is it, or is that metadata that should be derived from the metadata of the underlying data? That's what I'm wondering about. Wax and Polygon VIP stake still don't combine. Will they ever? We will have a solution for this, but there's a big but. There's an inherent problem. That's not a technical issue, right? And the inherent problem is that Wombat and Dungeon Master users can have different Wax and Polygon stakes combined, right? So on a level of the staking page where this basically happens, where your VIP status would have to be calculated, we would have to bundle two accounts that you kind of log in with, right? Because we don't know if you have a Wax account that's, let's say, is with Wombat, but your Polygon account is not, or more likely it's actually you have a Wax Cloud Wallet account where you have your Wax staking, and then you have your Polygon staking in Wombat. But then in Wombat you might have a separate Wax account. Then we can't know, right? We can't know which ones you want to combine. So this would have to be explicit, right? But what I can say is we will have more chains that staking is possible on. So by that time we have that, there will be ways of basically combining your wallets. So yes, this will at some point happen. When will the wallet be updated to support Solana? I would love to give you a more optimistic or a very specific and optimistic timeline here. It's going to take a little, right? So not days, but so I hope that we can then get that done within the next few months. But it's yeah. It's not because it's at the core, right? It's not super trivial. Adrian, will Playmate Wombat be at NFTopia on August 16th through 17th? We miss Olga. She always gave great presentations. I'll forward it to her so that she feels motivated to go there and do it. Okay. This article on Medium dated 27th of November 2023 had this following statement, quotation marks. We have always envisioned Wombat as a place of connectivity and discovery. The acquisition of Atomic Hub a few months ago and now WASDR, we've added the missing pieces to our complete Web3 gaming ecosystem, grew it to exceed 7 million users. Are you referring to the term acquisition, or what is it that you're referring to, Vince? So you're saying, is this where we kind of misled people because we said acquisition, and this would make them believe that we actually acquired the company, or is there anything else that you're referring to here? Because we might want to change the wording there. That's totally right. Or take that out altogether. I don't know. This one by Decrypt, EOS to Volta, concerns, opinions, require changes for on-chain activities within Dungeon Master. I haven't had myself the opportunity to dig into this too much, to be honest. So we've been faced with like, okay, what do we need to do? And the problem is, I think there's some things that we need to do, but I can't tell you. So the team has been analyzing this. Some people have been saying, okay, or some parts of the team have been saying there's not much we need to do. Some others have been saying there's quite a bit that we need to do, and this is the timeline. But I honestly, and shame on me, I can't tell you exactly what will have to do, what will have to happen when. Santiago were here, he could have told you much better. So specifically with regards to Dungeon Master, overall, it seems like the way they're doing it is really kind of for what this is actually, for what's actually happening. It's not as kind of bad or whatever, if invasive, let's put it that way. We'll be able to kind of do it step by step, and it's not going to be as kind of hard and in your face as it could have been with a change as big as that. Sorry, I missed that, Enzi. Sorry, that was not intentional. A lot of Wombat token already in locked stakes, and you're still scared of dumping after the airdrop. How can we help Adrian? So that's a question to me, right? You can't, Enzi. This is not you, or like I said, the others who are in here. It's the other people who are basically just looking to cash out, right, and or extract value from wherever they can. The non-screenshot information you get from the game, for example, health state for tic-tac-toe state could be the 3x3 field with Mark said. Okay. Yes. So, but what I wasn't getting is kind of how you mean that with the AI agents, right? Because the agents they will like that kind of data, but whether or not they can actually use it will very much depend on the format of the metadata and also of the the validity of this, right? So there's going to be multiple ways of how we're going to aim to tackle metadata, and that's one of the most difficult parts of all around this this whole protocol, right? So that's where we're going to have to spend quite a bit of effort and time on how do we get to proper metadata, because obviously across different games that metadata might look totally different, right? And also might have totally different use. And it might have to come from somewhere else, right? Because for tic-tac-toe, yes, I mean, that's pretty easy to interpret, right? If you know what the goal is, then visually interpreting what's going on there will be fairly easy. But you sometimes may not actually be able to visually interpret what's going on, and or it may be much harder to do that, right? So for tic-tac-toe, because the all of the state that's going on is on screen at all times. So full information, kind of. But there's other games where that's not the case, and that there it's going to get much more interesting and much more complex. So there's very likely going to be a part where players are being asked about this as well, right? So there might be a little survey at the end of a session or whatever, where people can get extra points, extra tokens, whatever, extra payouts for tagging their stuff, or submitting metadata on those if we can't get that elsewhere, right? And that will also strongly depend on the game creators, for instance, supporting this and so on. So, but it's got like what we anticipated is it's going to be a very kind of game by game, individual kind of thing. Like it's going to depend on the game very much. Prince Paradox. I did a lot of reading on Volta, still EOS for now, but there are future concerns as they move on the one-way migration in their ecosystem in the future. I mean, from a kind of from a long-term focus perspective, obviously, Volta focusing on banking rather than, I mean, back in the day, EOS was actually being presented as one of the best places for Web3 gaming to happen, right? That's not going to be the case anymore. So yes, we will have to think about what do we do with all the EOS, like the NFTs that we have on EOS, and how they relate to Dungeon Master, for instance. So there's kind of a short-term perspective. Do we need technical things? But then there's more of a long-term perspective. Is it worth supporting this within the Web3 gaming ecosystem altogether if the focus of Volta is not at all in Web3 gaming, right? And that's definitely a valid question that I need to answer as well. I mean, it's kind of obvious. No, the answer is no, right? We will have to find a way of dealing with this, and basically not saying removing, but maybe somehow migrating away from Volta if there's no support or no kind of how would you say outlook for Volta being any place for gaming whatsoever. Webby. Everyone here and some that aren't. We love Wombat and Dungeon Master and we'll love play at some point. But in a relationship, it's a two-way thing, and I feel the community needs something to get excited about. This stream should have been a party on the launch of Play, etc. It feels more like a funeral. Oh man. So that's on me, I guess. Yeah, I should have brought some drinks in that case. So I'm sorry. I was just expecting a lot of the type of questions that we're actually having. So actually, that's maybe I've been too much focused on that, right, and trying to explain myself and so on. So you're right, Webby. I personally, I'm also on an up and down sometimes about, okay, is this good or is this not good? Getting this kind of feedback, and that kind of feedback. Overall, I think we can build something amazing, right? And the Play token launch is the start of this. It's not the end. It's not kind of it's over, whatever. It's the start of this. And even though not everything has worked out perfectly, we're doing well. We're doing okay, right? So that's also a lot of, like I said early on, there's been a lot of very positive feedback. Some people who get really, really excited about this, some people who have a lot of weight in the space, right, and who want to help making this a huge success, right. So that's what's really cool. But I didn't want to go on a stream here and basically say, "Hooray, everything's great," and then let's party, right? While all of you are waiting for answers, and many of you are basically are unhappy or are kind of content and waiting and whatnot, right? So I didn't want to kind of miss the tone here. But if I mean, I'm amazed personally, and always and again, basically, by how passionate all of you are, specifically about Dungeon Master. And I really hope that we can get this kind of feel over to all of Playmind and Play and whatever we're going to be doing. So we're going to try and keep you as tightly in the loop as possible, and like I said earlier, so that so that you know what's coming, and you know what to be excited about, and you know that it's worth being excited about it. Oh, sorry. I think there should be an announcement to DM users as an in-app notification. That's, again, Santiago's specialty. As people may only use EOS for one-play Dungeon Master and not know wider chain specifics, token swap one-to-one is already active from the utility side. Yes. Okay. 1 second. For the Wombat staked and involved, can we have a choice in the token or currency when we withdraw them, so that when we request for the token type we need rather than swapping Wombat, which will for sure result to drop in value of Wombat? Yeah, I think that goes in line with what Beantown Bob suggested, that if we were to keep the utility for the Wombat token with a Dungeon Master, this would make sense. Other than that, I would have said, okay, if you get enough value in play, then it doesn't matter what Wombat does. But this is an interesting idea to basically have a choice. I just wouldn't know why you would want that if we actually do replace all the utility that Wombat currently has in Dungeon Master with Play. Oh, that's true. The acquisition. Well, it was an acquisition, right? So the term acquisition is not wrong. But okay, I personally thought it was an acquisition until 2 weeks ago when you said otherwise. What I remember very clearly was not long after buying Atomic Hub. Now was there? Business must be good. There were a banner and graphic that clearly said Spielworks logo acquires WASDER logo. And again, we did acquire WASDER. We just didn't acquire the WASDER company. But yeah, I wonder what an easier way of clearly communicating, because there's two types of business acquisitions, right? There's equity deals and there's asset deals. In Web3, I think I would never do an equity deal. I would never buy a company with its equity, because if you acquire a company with all its equity, you also acquire all the liabilities, right? So I wonder how we could have made this clearer right from the get-go, especially on kind of a tagline, headline basis, what the nature of this transaction is, or at least that we explain in the kind of small print that this is acquires WASD in terms of or in an asset deal, right? Because this is what it was. Maybe we weren't really expecting any type of backlash like this, but when the first people came out and said, "Hey, I made this and this deal with WASD, are you going to honor this, or are you going to pay me back, or whatever?" I was like, no, this is weird. I never knew about these deals, so that's weird. That's weird. That was. Wonder if there's anything retrospectively that we can do, but I'll get that to the team. Sure. We're on fire with AI today. I've worked with training models, and it's hard to quantify the effect of training data in the wild model. What? There's one player as training data in the model. You basically have to create a model without that player and evaluate against the model, including this data, which is a huge effort, really. Yeah, that's right. I really wonder how the PlayMind will truly get this percentage of the player's data, improving the model to calculate the rewards for this player data donator. Yeah, that's another very interesting part in terms of attribution, right? So within the protocol, how do you define who should get what portion of the payout, let's say, right? So let's imagine somebody books or buys an agent that was trained based off of 5 data sets. That's for the sake of simplicity, right? Which data set, or the owner of which data set should receive how much for that data, right? For the usage of the data. And doing this based off of the actual effect or the performance, that is going to be incredibly hard, as you put it. Sure, you're totally right. This is like close to impossible to do at scale, right? Because having multiple models, especially if you have let's keep this on the player level. Let's not keep this on the data set level even, right? Let's just keep it on the player level. But if you have data from 100 players, right, the permutations that you would have to do with player A, without player A, and so on, that's going to kill you, right? So that's not how this can work. So our idea is more tied towards how do you know that this is a good player, right? And good players' data will be attributed higher, right? So there might be more of a, I don't want to call it reputation, but it's something like that, right? So something like performance score. And if, for instance, you've created more data sets, or your data sets have been used in more models and so on, or also if you're just simply higher level in a game, right? You might have a higher score, and this will define your attribution, right? Because obviously you'll have or you share in the attribution, because obviously you will have people just trying to literally farm this, right? So they will just launch the game and just sit there and do nothing, right? So that's not going to have any value to anyone training any AI, right? But these people will try and farm as many player rewards as possible. So these should not be getting anything, or actually nothing at all, right? So we'll have to figure out, how valuable this data might actually be, right? Based off of certain maybe social factors, quote unquote social, like more factors that are surrounding the player, and factors that surround the data itself, right? And metadata, again, as we've been discussing, right? If there's a proper metadata, if you know, for instance, oh, this player reached level 17 in this session, in this data set, then that's going to be more valuable than if there's hardly anything, right? I don't think it ever said you have to leave EOS 100%. I will reread. Yeah, that was my impression as well, but that's not the point, right? The point is anyone getting, like, even if we can still continue using EOS, but like from a technical perspective, is it worth doing so, right? I think that's going to be the question. Is it worth onboarding people onto EOS altogether, right? I think that's the problem here. When one play, but seriously, any play initiatives for one play, and we need a chance to earn more of collection set NFTs again. Love that utility. Yeah, I love that as well. So first of all, we would have to migrate that to a different chain, and then we will have to make it easier to actually create these, right? And maybe AI will be the solution for this. Maybe it will. Thanks, Choco Crypto. The launch didn't go as expected, but we are here to support you wherever, Adrian. It's not all how started, but how it's going is important. Thanks. The play to earn Uber game connecting all the various mobile games, to me, that's a genius idea. I need to continue leaning into that, and we'll see what happens with AI. Uber game. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, let's talk about payout. I want to pick where I'm getting paid out. I see a lot of people upset about where they are getting paid out now. Where? To be fair, I just want to get paid directly to Coinbase. What do you mean with where they are getting paid out? Why is the stream so depressing? What did I miss? I thought things were going great. Robert DeFaro, you'll hardly ever see me or hear me say things are going great, even if they are. Right? In general, that's just not me. I'm not the type of guy, and especially not if I'm alone and without any support from Santiago or Olga or Pedro. Anyway, no, I'll hardly ever say things are just great, right? And just party, because that's just not me. I will always try and find a way to honestly answer questions and concerns and not just party around them, right? So if people are saying, okay, that's not great, Adrian, that I'm not gonna put up a smiley and happy face and tell them, but everything's fine, right? So that's maybe why it feels a little depressing, because there's been a lot of valid questions and I've been trying to answer them as best as I can right now. So maybe that's it. But I'm generally not depressed because there's, like I said, there's a lot of really good developments, and we'll be piggybacking off of those, so that will make this a huge success. Yeah, CapTop. So on the EOS point, will that mean the end for Atomic Hub on EOS for EOS? I wish I could give you a definite answer on this. For now, I don't know yet, right? Obviously, for as long as we have a lot of EOS NFTs out there that people want to trade, we keep supporting EOS. But down the line, we'll have to see how many. Because I mean, if you look at the NFTs that are being traded on Atomic on EOS, that's mostly our NFTs anyway, right? There's hardly anything outside of what we have produced that's being traded on EOS altogether. So we could as well put that anywhere else. I've seen someone talking about having issues moving Wax USDC off Wax using DEX and SEX that's accessible to them. Okay, that's interesting because you can. Well, the idea about Wax USDC is you can bridge this over to Solana, and then you have just USDC that you can deposit into Coinbase, right? So that's how it should work. But then if you don't like Wax USDC, then use USDC on Polygon instead. There's merger and acquisitions. They are different. That is yet another story, but we never merged anything, right? Okay. What happens when someone goes crazy and GDPRs you to have the data deleted? How do you honor that? Yeah, that is a big question. So we want to be GDPR compliant with all of Playmind. So we'll have to somehow deal with this as well, right? And we have a few options there, but we don't know exactly how. But in general, yes, you can also delete things from decentralized storages. The black background ain't helping. Makes it look like someone died or we are closing down announcement. Very somber mood. But I've had that background for a while, so it's not new. Is Sol and Play already available for OneBit Wallet? No, not yet. This is because we need to roll that out across all clients and in the backend, and it's like very deep down because Solana is a very different chain and everything else. It's taking a little. Vince is saying some of these uncertainties need addressing as we are speaking of credibility of the company and your accountability. Reputation is at stake. To be honest, most viewers are mostly respectful today, and like you said, our passion and goodwill on the matter is something you should be proud of and grateful for. You're right. So I appreciate that you're respectful and not just shouting, right? Or not shouting at all, actually. So thanks for that, and we'll like that. That's why I'm still here, right? I'm here to answer these questions and not run away or duck away. It's not depressing, just German. That is also something. I would love to have more chains in there, especially Solana now. Requirement to pay fees on NFT rewards. Pay fees on NFT rewards. Oh, okay. Creator portal for NFT artists and game creators with features like MP Boost, rewards for the game, and NFT renting after play staking. Wow. Robot is pushing hard. Okay, I'll save that to discuss with Santiago. Funk and Crypto, thanks for dropping by as always. Don't forget to recycle. Why is everybody typing play? Because you think that we're having another round of Twitchy Tides on. Okay. Then let's do this. Let's do another round. I don't know why. Type exclamation mark play with AI, please. Decrypt. I think Wax without more and more multi-chain exposure would die a miserable death, and people need to remember that is their largest investment to date in most cases. Yeah, I mean, the whole Solana kind of bridging thing, that wasn't that much of a bad idea, right? So this did bring more liquidity into Wax, so that's good. Okay, let's do a quick round. So, we're already 23 players. That's good. Really quick round of Twitchy Tights. So I'll give you 1 more minute to join. And then you can already have a look at who we're going to rate. And we'll do a quick round. So that's going to be a little quicker. Play with AI, exclamation mark, play with AI, Wuvu Gaming. Van der Westhuizen. Play with AI. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen yet. Oh yeah, that's my fault. Sorry. Play with AI, like here. Okay, then let's go. 31 people, 32 people playing. We'll do the same rules as always. Top 5 players, and the top player with the wombat skin get a promo box each. So let's go. Anyone more? Okay, Prince Paradox. Okay, we're going. This should be rather fast. So I think, Shiba Seeker is still in there. And Janice. 2 wombats. Still in there. Oh, there was one more. Sorry, I didn't see that. Probably Vince. Oh yeah, there's a lot of enemies coming. 6 more, 6 left. And we're almost done. So, okay, there we go. Webby is the winner. GG's. So we've got Webby, Jamie Penguins. Whenever I read Penguins, I always have to be reminded of this nature documentary with, what's his name, where he can't pronounce penguins. Share Love, Funk and Crypto, and Autumn's Toys. So that is well deserved here. And then we've got Sugar Queen Janice in the top 8. Outsmarted Shiba Seeker. So GG's here. Okay. Dungeon equipment sets that we can swap out. Yeah, I need to. That's a question that needs to be asked to Santiago. I don't know if he has bumped that up on the roadmap just yet, but it's definitely on the roadmap. Seems rare one, but still having constipation issue. Okay, we'll ask again. All right, folks. GG's once again to the winners here. Who do you want to rate? That's the last question. And the second to last, it's not a question, it's just a statement. I'm sorry if I didn't have all the answers for all of you, and so I'm sorry for making this a little bit depressing, or like a funeral. I'll try to choose a different background next time so that it doesn't feel like feel that bad. There's also going to be a different type of energy if there's somebody else and so on, obviously. But anyway, we will get you all the answers. We will not take too much time to do that. And I really, really, really thank you for being here, for always coming back, for phrasing your frustration, for your even if it's not always pleasant. This was not the most pleasant stream of all time for me, right? But I'm here to have these discussions with all of you, to discuss to get there and to get there together, and we can only do this together, right? I can't do that without the company, without the team, and they can do that with you. Also, I can't do that without you. Sorry, can't do that without you. None of us can do that without you. So we need all of you to be here. We need your feedback. We need to be in a constant interaction. So we'll keep doing these streams. We'll keep answering the questions. Keep getting criticized and try to react to that and do the best, right? So thanks a lot for being here, for giving your feedback, positive and negative and constructive. So it helps you, even if we not always like do exactly what you told us to do, right? It always helps, and we always take that into consideration. Always, always, always. And even if it feels like, oh yeah, I told you this, but you ignored that. No, it always does something with us, right? We always reflect upon these things, and we always take them into consideration. So really love it. Although it's not always, like I said, it's not always the most pleasant thing to show my face and talk to that, but I really appreciate it, really. So thanks a lot. Okay. And it's only the start. Exactly. So thanks a lot. Okay, then yeah, we'll just rate the online in. If they are live, boss fighters. I have no idea what that is, but okay. Then we're rating the online in. Have a lot of fun. See you soon, maybe latest next week, right? So enjoy. Have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye. A Web3 NFT game. What else? That's cool. Maybe I'll watch a little later. All right. Have fun. Goodbye.